What kind of manager screams at the front desk staff at 2 in the morning? Quentin Harlow didn't expect to ask himself that question when he decided to go undercover at one of his 9 boutique hotels. He'd built the business from nothing, started with a single roadside motel in Nevada, cleaned rooms himself, did night shifts, folded towels. But these days, he spent most of his time in meetings, far from the chaos of check-ins and late-night complaints. He hadn't visited location number 7, his mid-tier hotel in downtown Phoenix, in over a year. Lately, reviews for it had tanked. Complaints about rude staff, dirty rooms, and long wait times. His district manager, Joel, kept brushing it off as a rough patch. Quentin wasn't buying it, so he pulled the plug on secondhand info. He left his penthouse in LA, rented a dusty Toyota Corolla, and checked in under the name Lenny. He wore a thick brown beard, fake glasses, and a slightly hunched posture. The beard itched like hell. No one recognized him. He'd never met most of the current hotel staff face to face. It was a corporate chain feel, but he still owned every inch of it. He told management he was a new overnight trainee from a staffing agency, filling in due to short notice. The hotel was understaffed. 2 night staff had quit in the same week, burned out from 12-hour shifts and verbal abuse from guests. That made his cover easier. His first shift started at 10 p.m. "Hey, rookie. You stand here and shut up unless I need you to move towels," said a bald, stocky man with a crooked name tag. Matt. Matt was the night manager, not the friendly type. Quentin nodded quietly, observing. The lobby was dim, the floor sticky. Guests trickled in, some drunk, others tired. A couple complained about slow Wi-Fi. Matt waved them off without looking up. At around midnight, a young woman barely in her 20s came out from the back office. Her name tag read Layla. She adjusted the front desk printer and whispered, "Sorry about him. Just hang in there." Quentin gave her a quiet nod. Her eyes looked tired, but she kept helping guests with a patient tone. Things were calm until around 2:30 a.m. That's when it happened. A man in a polo shirt stomped into the lobby, red-faced, shouting, "This is ridiculous. I've been calling for towels for an hour." Layla stepped up. "I'm really sorry, sir. We've had some delays tonight." Before she could finish, Matt stormed in, barking, "What part of staff is busy, don't you get? You think yelling gets you towels faster?" Quentin's stomach turned. The guest looked stunned. I wasn't even yelling until now." Layla stepped in. "Matt, I've got it. Please go cool off." But Matt kept going. "No, I'm tired of this crap. You people think we're your servants. You want towels, go to a 5-star hotel." Quentin's hands clenched. That was enough. He stepped forward, dropping the mop he'd been holding. "That's not how we talk to guests. Ever." Matt turned. "Excuse me? You're a temp. Stay in your lane." Quentin took off his glasses and tugged at his beard. The glue stung as he peeled it off. Layla gasped. Matt's eyes narrowed, confused. "I'm Quentin Harlow," he said calmly. "I own this hotel." Silence. Layla's jaw dropped.
"Wait. What?"
Matt blinked.
"No."
You're not serious." Quentin's voice stayed low but firm. "You think screaming at a guest in the lobby at 2 a.m. is how we run things? You think this is acceptable?" Matt stammered. He was being rude. "No." Quentin cut him off. "You were." He stepped closer. "You're done here. Go clean out your locker. You're fired. Immediately." Matt's face twisted. "You don't get, I do. I've read the reviews. I've seen the cameras." This was the last straw. Matt stormed out, muttering under his breath. Quentin turned to Layla. "You okay?" She nodded slowly.
"Yeah."
"Just didn't expect all that." "Neither did I," Quentin said. "But I'm glad I was here." The guest, who'd been watching silently, stepped forward. "Honestly, thank you. That guy was out of line." Quentin nodded. "You'll have your towels in 5 minutes. And tomorrow, Your stay's on the house. The guest blinked. Seriously? Seriously. Layla looked at Quentin, her voice quiet. Are you really the owner? He smiled.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of work to do. He walked behind the front desk and rolled up his sleeves. Let's get through the night. Together. At 3:10 a.m., the lobby was quiet again. The echo of Matt's outburst still lingered in the air like stale smoke. Quentin stood behind the desk with Layla, who rubbed her temples and kept glancing at the monitor displaying room statuses. Her fingers moved quickly over the keyboard, checking notes, room updates, flagged maintenance tickets. Quentin scanned the screen beside her. How many rooms are overdue for housekeeping follow-ups? She didn't look up. 17. Half of those have guest complaints logged. We're 2 housekeepers down this week. He nodded once. Who's doing the morning handoff?
Me.
No one else wants to. And I can't hand it off to no one. There was no trace of bitterness in her voice, just a kind of tired acceptance. She clicked through a few more screens, then sighed. I'll go prep the maintenance log for morning. Can you watch the desk? Quentin leaned on the counter. Go. I've got it. She disappeared into the back office, and for a few minutes, it was just him and the low hum of the vending machines. He took the guest call line, answered a request for a wake-up call, and added it manually to the system. Every part of the process was clunky. The reservation software was 2 versions behind, and the internal notes were riddled with inconsistent codes. No wonder the staff was overwhelmed. At 3:40 a.m., a tall man with a limp came through the service door off the side hallway, dragging a wheeled laundry cart half filled with towels and sheets. His name tag read Tarek. Laundry room's backed up again, he said, not looking up. Dryer 2's still busted. Quentin stepped around the counter. How long's it been out? Tarek paused, looked at him for the first time. New guy, right? Dryer's been down since Monday. Maintenance logged it, but no word since. He spoke with a faint East African accent. His posture was stiff, and his hands cracked from detergent and heat exposure. I'll put in a priority ticket, Quentin said, pulling out his phone. Tarek gave him a look. That'll be the 4th one this week. Quentin made a note anyway. Who's running laundry with you? No one. They cut the night shift to 1 person last month. Said it was a budget thing. He pushed the cart forward, then stopped. You really want to help? Don't just file tickets. Come see the room. Quentin followed him through the side corridor. The laundry room was small, poorly ventilated, and reeked of mildew. One dryer was open, filled with damp towels. The other had a red tag across the door, out of service. Tarek lifted a wet sheet. This has been sitting for almost 4 hours. I can't cycle everything through one machine. Quentin scanned the space. A single fan buzzed in the corner, barely moving the air. The floor was slick. He stepped carefully. You have gloves? He asked. Ran out last week. I've been using the same pair since Tuesday. Quentin opened a side cabinet. Empty shelves. 2 rolls of toilet paper. A broken lint trap. I'll make sure we restock gloves and cleaning supplies by tomorrow night, he said. Tarek didn't respond. He just lifted another load with slow, deliberate movements. Quentin stood there, watching the rhythm of a man resigned to being invisible. Why haven't you quit? Quentin asked after a moment. Tarek gave a slight shrug. My sister works the front desk at the North Scottsdale location. She said it used to be different. Used to feel like we mattered. I'm waiting to see if that comes back. Quentin nodded. You'll know soon. He returned to the front desk just after 4 a.m. Layla was back, typing up incident notes from the earlier confrontation. She didn't ask where he'd been. At 4:30 a.m., a woman in a navy housekeeping polo appeared, hair tied back in a rough bun. Her name tag read Sonia. Room 309 asked for extra towels again. I only had 2, she said, dropping a clipboard onto the desk. Also, room 412 still smells like weed. No one flagged it. Layla glanced at Quentin, then looked back at Sonia. We don't have enough inventory for 309. I put in a request yesterday. Sonia rolled her eyes. They're gonna complain again. You'll see. She turned to Quentin. You the new guy? Just helping out, Quentin said. Sonia narrowed her eyes. Well, don't touch the linen cart. We've already had 2 interns mess up the sorting. Quentin kept his tone even. I'll stay out of the way. She snorted and walked off, muttering about lazy temps. Layla leaned closer. She used to be one of the friendliest people here. Something changed around December. She doesn't talk to anyone for more than a minute now. Quentin watched Sonia disappear into the elevator. Who's her supervisor? Technically Matt was. Now I guess. No one. He made another note. By 5 a.m., the early shift started trickling in. A tall young man named Declan clocked in, yawning, earbuds still in. He set his bag behind the desk, took one look at Quentin and frowned. You're the temp from last night? Quentin nodded. Lenny. Declan pulled out his phone. Weird. I didn't see any schedule update. Layla jumped in. Emergency coverage. He helped keep things moving. Declan dropped into the desk chair and pulled up the day log. Well, good luck keeping up. Place is a disaster. Why's that? He didn't look up. Because no one upstairs gives a damn. And nothing we flag ever gets fixed. Quentin studied him for a second. You ever think about quitting? Declan's laugh was dry. Every week. But I need tuition money. So I stick it out. Layla checked her watch. I'm staying another hour. I want to finish the maintenance report. Quentin raised an eyebrow. You were supposed to be off at 6. I know. But if I leave it hanging, it just gets ignored. Declan looked over. She's not kidding. I saw her leave here at 11 a.m. once, after clocking in at 10 the night before. Quentin's expression hardened. That's not happening again. At 6:15 a.m., the general manager, a woman named Camille, walked in. She was in her early 40s, sharp blazer, tablet under one arm. Her eyes scanned the room quickly. Morning, she said. Everything quiet. Layla stepped back. We had an incident earlier. Matt shouted at a guest. Quentin let him go. Camille froze. Who? Quentin stepped forward.
Me.
Quentin Harlow. Her mouth parted slightly. She looked him over, blinked once, then composed herself. I wasn't told you were visiting. That's the point of going undercover. She hesitated. I see. Well, I wish I'd been here to assist. I'll need to speak with you privately. Camille nodded stiffly. Of course. My office. They walked to a narrow room off the hallway. Quentin closed the door behind them. I've seen enough, he said. Broken equipment. Overworked staff. A manager who should have been removed months ago. What happened? Camille crossed her arms. We've had staffing issues. Budget constraints. I've flagged the problems repeatedly. Quentin didn't look away. And what did you do when no one followed up? I escalated when I could. But most of the pressure came from district. Joel said we needed to cut hours, not spend more. He studied her closely. Did you ever push back? Camille hesitated. I tried. Once or twice. That's not enough. Her voice lowered. I didn't want to lose my job. People are burning out under you. Some are barely hanging on. If you couldn't protect them, you should have escalated to me directly. I didn't know that was an option. It always was. He stepped back. You have 2 choices. Step down, and we'll find a transitional role for you elsewhere. Or stay, and implement every change I'm about to put in motion. And I'll be watching. Camille nodded slowly. I'll stay. I want to fix this.
Good.
Then start by meeting with every night shift employee today. I want their concerns documented directly.
No summaries. No filters.
She pulled out her tablet. Yes, sir. Quentin walked out of the office and headed back to the desk. Layla was still there, typing fast. He tapped the counter. She looked up. You're off the clock. Go home. Come back tonight. I'll be here again. Her eyes widened. You're working another shift? He smiled faintly. One's not enough. She gathered her things slowly. Thank you. For earlier.
I saw what I needed to see, he said.
Now it's time to fix it. By the time Quentin returned to the hotel just before 10 that night, the air outside was thick with heat. Even after sundown, Phoenix clung to its warmth. He stepped through the sliding glass doors wearing a plain gray zip-up hoodie and dark jeans, no disguise this time. His face was bare, his expression unreadable. The front desk was manned by Declan, whose eyes flicked up when he saw him.
No earbuds tonight.
You're back, Declan said, voice low. Quentin nodded. I said I would be. Declan studied him for a beat longer. You really run this place?
I own it, Quentin said.
But I haven't been running it. That's changing now. Declan leaned back slightly, not skeptical, just cautious. Camille called a staff meeting after you left. Said we'd be seeing some shifts. You have any thoughts about that? Declan rubbed his jaw. I'm not used to bosses asking my thoughts.
But yeah.
I've got plenty. Good. I'll listen after things settle. Quentin stepped behind the desk. Layla entered from the back room, hair pulled up in a tight twist, clipboard under her arm. She stopped when she saw him. You weren't kidding, she said. I usually don't, Quentin replied. How's the transition going? She set the clipboard down. Camille's been in meetings all day. She asked every department lead to submit a list of what's broken, missing, or overdue. Sonia didn't want to do it. Said she's done talking. She's still on shift. Layla nodded. Room inspections. I'll talk to her later. Quentin moved toward the back office and picked up the radio sitting on the desk. Tarek, you there? A few seconds passed before a tired voice crackled through.
Yeah.
You in laundry? Still am. I'm coming down. Quentin passed through the narrow hallway, down the service stairs, and into the laundry room. The industrial fan was gone. In its place sat two small box fans perched on upside-down crates. Tarek was folding towels in slow, methodical movements. He wore a fresh pair of gloves. Quentin stepped beside him. Dryer to get fixed. Tarek didn't look up. Maintenance came by. Said they needed a part. Might be a few more days. You believe that? Tarek shrugged. I believe they showed up. That's something. Quentin picked up a towel and began folding. 4 more temps coming in by the weekend. 2 for laundry. You'll have help. That'll be new. Quentin glanced at him. You and your sister, what do you talk about when you talk about work? Tarek leaned against the table. She says her manager actually checks in. Gives her time to breathe. When she's off, she's off. Here, it's just. Don't drop anything or someone else pays for it. You ever want to transfer? She told me to put in for it.
But I didn't want to bail on the mess.
Felt like cheating. Quentin folded another towel. That loyalty's going to matter. I want you part of the fix. Tarek gave him a long look. All right. Then don't just patch things. Change how it works. Working on it. Back upstairs. Things had begun to shift. Camille was walking the lobby with a notepad, speaking quietly with 2 young housekeepers near the elevators. She gave Quentin a brief nod as he passed. He turned into the staff break room and found Sonia sitting at the far table alone, sipping from a paper cup. The overhead light flickered slightly. I heard you didn't want to talk earlier, Quentin said. Sonia glanced up. You're not going to make me write a list too, are you?
No.
I want to understand what happened. She leaned back slowly. You've got your cameras. The numbers. You already know. I want to hear it from you. Sonia stared at her cup for a moment, then looked up. I started here 2 years ago. I used to love it. I trained new staff. Did extras. covered callouts. I was proud of what we built. What changed? Last fall, they cut our team from 6 to 4. Then someone quit. Then another. We asked for help. Nothing came. And then Matt. She trailed off. I know what he was doing, Quentin said. You shouldn't have had to work under that. She gave a bitter laugh. He used to say if we couldn't handle it, we should go work in fast food. That housekeeping's not for the soft. Quentin sat across from her. Why didn't you report him? I did. Camille said it was being handled. But nothing happened. He just got quieter when higher-ups were around, then louder when they weren't. Quentin's jaw tightened. You're not invisible anymore. Sonia looked at him. We've worked without proper carts, without gloves, without enough sheets. You know how many times I've heard a guest complain that the hallway smells like bleach? That's because we had to mop with straight concentrate, no dilution.
No sepláis.
That ends now. She shook her head. We've heard that before. Quentin didn't flinch. You haven't heard it from me.
He stood.
You're off rotation for the next 2 nights. Full pay. You'll help Camille and me rebuild the housekeeping structure. Hiring, training, supply chain. All of it. Sonia stared. Why me? Because you didn't walk away. And because you saw the cracks before anyone else. She set her cup down. All right. Then I want to be clear. We don't need posters about company values. We need carts that don't wobble and gloves that don't rip. You'll have them. He left her there and returned to the front desk, where Declan was now guiding a guest through a late check-in. Layla was on the phone, logging a maintenance request. Everything moved with quiet coordination. Quentin stepped aside to check the staff schedule on the wall-mounted screen. He tapped through the next week's roster. Still too thin. Still patchwork. He turned to Declan when the guests left. You know anyone looking for part-time overnight work? Declan glanced over. 2 guys in my class. EMT students. They're used to late hours. Tell them to come by tomorrow. We'll start interviews. Declan blinked. Seriously? Seriously. We need people who can think on their feet. Layla hung up the phone. That was room 225. They've got a leak coming through the bathroom ceiling. Quentin grabbed the maintenance log. That's above the 3rd floor mechanical access. Could be a pipe seal. Want me to call emergency maintenance?
No. I'll go.
Declan looked at him. You're going to climb into the ceiling at 1 in the morning? If it gets worse before the morning crew arrives, that's 10 refunds we can't afford. He grabbed a flashlight from the supply closet without waiting for a reply. The 3rd floor was quiet, the carpet muffling his steps. A faint drip echoed down the hallway like a metronome. He climbed the access ladder behind the fire door and eased into the low crawl space above the ceiling tiles. The heat was stifling. He found the leak. A cracked PVC elbow, dripping steadily. He wrapped it with temporary seal tape and marked the pipe. It would hold for a few hours. Back at the desk, his shirt clung to him, damp with sweat. Layla looked up. You good? He nodded once. Temporary patch. Permanent fix comes at 8. She handed him a water bottle. Most CEOs would have just told someone to file a report. Quentin took the bottle. That's how he got here in the first place. At 4, the lobby grew still. The night had steadied.
No yelling, no chaos.
Tarek finished his last load. Sonia went home early. Camille was still in her office, typing up policy revisions. Quentin sat behind the front desk, watching the security feed. Declan looked over. You tired? Exhausted. You going to be back tomorrow? Every night this week. Declan leaned back. If you're serious, people are going to talk. They should. Layla finished logging the final guest note. You really think you can turn this place around? Quentin didn't hesitate. I don't think. I know. By the end of the week, the hotel didn't look different, but it felt different. The front desk still had its scuffed corners. The carpet still bore the wear of countless luggage wheels, and the scent of industrial cleaner still clung faintly to the air. But people moved with purpose now. Quiet nods between staff replaced avoidance. Tasks were done without prompting. The tension that had settled like dust over the night shifts had begun to lift. Quentin spent every night that week on site. He rotated through departments, never announcing where he'd be or what he'd do. He restocked carts, helped log inventory, and sat in on onboarding for 2 new laundry assistants. Word had spread through the staff, not just about who he was, but what he was actually doing. His presence had stopped being a surprise. It had become an anchor. Camille had taken a quieter role since their conversation. She didn't try to reassert control. Instead, she sat beside employees during breaks, took notes during walkthroughs, and began scheduling one-on-ones with every department head. She'd shown up for Tarek's final dryer test with a clipboard and an HVAC tech, and she'd personally followed up on the parts order delay that had caused the bottleneck. When she sat down with Sonia in the break room midweek, she didn't talk. She listened, and that made all the difference. On Thursday night, just before midnight, Quentin returned from a supply run with 2 fresh mop handles and a pack of maintenance tags slung under one arm. Declan looked up from the front desk, eyes bleary from another double shift. "Didn't know owners ran errands," he said. "I do," and the last mop handle snapped in half. Quentin replied, setting the items on the counter. "You get any sleep today?" "A few hours." "Enough." Layla stepped in from the back office, holding a stapled packet. "Camille wants to trial a new handoff form for night-to-day shift," she said. "It's got fields for unresolved issues and follow-up tracking." "Good," Quentin said. "Keep a stack at the desk. Make it standard." Declan leaned forward. "You really think this is going to stick once you're gone?" "I'm not gone. I'm shifting focus. But I'll be watching what happens here a lot more closely now and directly." Layla placed the packet on the clipboard rack. "You want to see the interview notes from the last 2 applicants?" "Later. Let's do a walkthrough first." They moved together through the first-floor corridor. Housekeeping carts stood aligned, fully stocked. The vending machine near the stairwell had finally been restocked. Elevator 2, which had stalled twice the previous weekend, bore a fresh inspection tag. When they reached the service hallway, Layla slowed her pace. "Just a heads up," she said. "We've had some pushback from a new hire.
Miguel.
He's been skipping assignments. Said he's not paid enough to scrub drains." "Who hired him?" "Joel sent him down from another property. Said we were short." Quentin exhaled through his nose. "Where is he now?" "Assigned to 4th floor maintenance. But he's been ducking into the break room." Quentin turned without a word and took the staff hallway to the rear lounge. Sure enough, Miguel sat slouched in a chair, scrolling through his phone, earbuds in. He didn't look up when the door opened. "4th floor's still waiting on the drain flush," Quentin said. Miguel didn't flinch. "Not my job to mess with plumbing. You were assigned to it. I'm not a janitor." Quentin stepped forward. "That wasn't optional. You were told exactly what the task was." Miguel looked up, finally pulling one earbud free. "I don't take orders from night shift temps." Quentin stared at him for a beat. "I'm the owner, and you're done here."
Miguel blinked.
"You what? You've been here 4 days. You've skipped assignments, ignored instructions, and disrespected staff. I don't need to see more. Pack your things. You're no longer employed here." Miguel stood slowly, eyes narrowing. "You think you can just— I did. You're finished. Don't speak to anyone on your way out." Miguel muttered something under his breath and shoved past Quentin, disappearing down the hall. Layla appeared behind him, arms crossed. "He was going to be trouble from day one," she said. "Not anymore," Quentin replied. "We're not tolerating that. Not for a minute." They resumed their rounds. At 1:30, Sonia met them near the storage closet on 2. She handed Layla a supply form and turned to Quentin. "Got 5 carts now fully stocked," she said. Carts 6 and 7 are missing Willocks. Order replacements, Quentin said. Don't wait for approval. Already did. Sonia didn't linger. She had someone training under her now, someone she'd mentored personally for the past 2 nights. Her pace was faster, but her posture had changed, shoulders back, head level. She moved like someone who'd reclaimed her place. At 2:15, a guest at the front desk requested a room change. The AC unit in her suite was rattling, and she couldn't sleep. Declan pulled up the room inventory, found a comparable space, and offered her a move within 10 minutes. That's fine, she said, rubbing her temples. Just didn't think I'd be moving at this hour. Quentin stepped forward. We'll cover tonight's rate, he said. You shouldn't have to pay for a broken unit. The guest blinked, surprised. Thank you. He nodded. We're working on making this place better. Sorry for the interruption to your night. She smiled faintly. You're doing a good job. By 3:30, the hotel was quiet. Layla finished logging the night's updates. Tarek passed through the lobby with a nod, heading out after a shortened shift. The new laundry assistant had taken half his load, and for the first time in weeks, he'd gotten to clock out before dawn. Quentin stood by the windows, watching the city lights blink against the dark horizon. Camille approached him, tablet in hand. We've finalized the new reporting structure, she said. I've reassigned department heads so that night shift has direct representation in all morning meetings. No more waiting for issues to bubble up. Good. That's step 1.
There's more, she said.
Joel called. He heard about Miguel. Asked why you didn't clear it with him. Quentin didn't look away from the window. Tell him I don't clear things with people who ignore problems until they rot. Camille was quiet for a beat. He won't like that. Doesn't matter. If he wants to keep his position, he'll adapt. Or I'll replace him. She nodded. Understood. At 4, Quentin gathered the entire night shift crew in the small conference room off the back hallway. Sonia, Declan, Layla, and 2 of the new hires sat in loose formation around the table. Camille stood in the back. We're not finished yet, Quentin said. But we're not where we were a week ago. You've all stepped up. You've kept this place running through mistakes that weren't yours. That ends now. Layla folded her hands. How do we make sure it doesn't slip back? You hold leadership accountable. Camille's door stays open. I'll be checking in weekly. Any issues that go unanswered escalate.
Directly to me.
Declan raised a hand slightly. What if we see someone slipping again? Like Miguel? You speak up, Quentin said. Immediately. This place only works if we protect each other, and the people who stay silent let the rot back in. Sonia leaned forward. You still bringing in more staff?
Yes.
And we're slowing the onboarding. No more rushing people in just to fill gaps. We build the team right, or we don't build it at all. The room settled.
No applause. No cheers.
Just a steady, collective nod. At sunrise, Quentin walked out the front doors and stood in the pale light bleeding over the city skyline. The hotel behind him still had its cracks, its aging bones. But it was clean. It was functioning. And for the first time in a long while, it was honest. He didn't need cameras or quarterly reports to know what mattered. He'd seen it with his own eyes. And now, so had everyone else.